Hi friends, this is Capun Piso. Richard Dawkins is discussing creationism with the retards, but it's something he doesn't see. Listen to this.
Anybody who thinks that the world is less than 10,000 years old, there's an enormous number of creationists, especially in America, but not only in America, do think. The best excuse for them is lamentable ignorance. Ignorance is no crime, but it's something to be remedied by education.
Well, you can discuss all kind of things with the schizophrenics that are very educated and intellectual, and you'll waste your time. You cannot discuss reality with people with the neurological defects that believe having imaginary friends. And Richard Dawkins had to say that Christians believe in a resurrecting zombie that saves with blood that is real. He had to say that, but that's at the basis of the root of Christianity. And he never mentions that. So it's important that he would actually say that.
Anybody who is not ignorant, anybody who's been shown the facts and still believes the world is less than 10,000 years old, there's got to be something wrong with them.
See, that's exactly what I'm saying. There had to be something wrong with it. And Richard ought to just bring up some people suffering from temporal lobe epilepsy or schizophrenia, and then there it is, the answer right there. Yes, there is something wrong with them. People that believe in resurrecting zombies are Christ psychotics, because Jesus Christ is a resurrected zombie that resurrected and saved with blood. Jesus Christ. That's where Christianity comes from, and he should have mentioned that. He should mention that in his God Delusion book. Delusion is a psychopathy, it's a disease of the brain. He never mentions it. Richard never mentions once schizophrenia in his book, The God Delusion. It doesn't mention it. Why? So this is basically the problem.
To give an idea of the magnitude of the error, to believe that the world is less than 10,000 years old, given that we know the world is actually 4.6 billion years old.
Oh boy. So the war, some people believe the world is 6,000 years old. That's only one belief of thousands of crazy beliefs that the Christians have. You know, they believe in prayer. He ought to mention prayer. It doesn't work. He believes in spirit. Doesn't Richard know that the spirit is air in the lungs? And he had to study Latin, you know, then you know what pneuma is, and vapor and all that. In ancient times, they believed that. And Virgin Marys, they're a dime a dozen in ancient times. You know, all the gods, all these demigods, you know, they were product of a god copulating with a human. And the result was a half god and half. And Julius Caesar was one of those, the Christus. And Alexander the Great was one of those. And all these people, doesn't understand that. It's incredible. And this is the problem. They don't mention these things. All these atheists do not mention it. The man is brilliant.
It's equivalent to believing that the width of North America, right across from New York to San Francisco, is less than 10 yards. In that...
Yes, but there's people over there that go to church. The Christians, they walk on their knees to the altar praying so the zombie God will save him from these things. Well, he doesn't mention that. That little belief of the 6,000-year-old, that's nothing compared to the bizarre metamagical beliefs that all people of faith have. And also schizophrenics. At the root of mental disorder like schizophrenia and temporal lobe epilepsy are bizarre metamagical beliefs. That's what magic means. Metamagical means beyond magic. It's like metaphysics, beyond physics. And a lot of these intellectuals ought to learn Latin and other languages so they understand where all these nuts come from. Believing God is a mental illness. Faith is a mental illness. Only the ignorant, like he said, he was saying this, only the ignorant and children have an excuse. And they should be mentioned. So all these people are crazy people. People of faith are people of schizophrenia. Religion is organized as schizophrenia. It's there. I'm simply the messenger. I'm just telling it like it is. Friends, it's amazing that people don't realize that the brain is the one that creates all the thinking. And why Dawkins and Dennett and many brilliant minds don't connect faith in imaginary friends containing all religions as a mental disorder is beyond me. You know, a disorder is a disorder. You know, a malfunctioning brain can only produce irrational thinking and concepts. You know, it's like a drunk brain can only produce also irrational and distorted thoughts. Brain under drugs, the same thing. So people that believe in God, you know, they have a problem with the brain malfunction. And Dawkins, finally he's realizing it, but he ought to say it. Just as plain as it can be. People that believe in God and are educated, intellectuals, and you believe in imaginary friends, you have a problem. Neurological problem, not unlike schizophrenia, which is the acceptance of bizarre mathematical beliefs as tangible realities. It's very simple. I mean, we're in the 21st century, we're not in the 12th century. So religious people are nuts. They have a problem with the brain, they're sick people. You know, only the children and the ignorant have an excuse.
You've either got to be staggeringly ignorant, which most of them are, or if you're not ignorant, you've got to be insane.
Faith is always inversely proportional to knowledge and information. You should say that. The more faith you have, the more ignorant you are. Especially if you have defect, a problem with your brain, then of course you cannot grasp reality. And this is neurological disorder, it's mental illness, it's delusion, like he's saying in his book. But what is a delusion? Delusion is a psychosis, is a problem with the brain of people. So when you have the God, what is a God? God is an imaginary friend. In this case, a resurrecting zombie that says with blood, named Jesus Christ. That's a delusion, that's God. So the God delusion is believing in all this nonsense. And who believes in these delusions to be reality? People that have a problem with the brain like schizophrenics. And he should, in other words, Christians are, it's a form of schizophrenia. If you're believing in all this in religious faith. And he should mention this, that this is he never brought up, he never questioned the mental health or the crazy people that he had the discussions of resurrecting zombies and sin and all that with. Never brings it up. And this is what I'm problems with.
Appalling stranglehold that these archaic beliefs have on minds that have been warped since childhood.
Archaic beliefs. Yeah, minds can be warped, but if the brain is weak and all that, then people cannot fend off the bullshit. I was brought up in a Christian home. You know, I mean, a very Christian, very powerful aristocratic family. I was with nuns and Christian brothers, La Salle Christian brothers and all that. And I survived. So where's the excuse? It had to be a problem with the brain that actually people cannot get rid of the psychosis. And that's in any religious beliefs. Religious beliefs based on bizarre mathematical beliefs and irrationalities is accepted as true, is a psychosis. And he should say that. And then we wouldn't have this discussion, these problems. So people that they believe in God are retarded. They have a problem. They're like a schizophrenia individuals. And this is the problem. This is what Richard should say.
It's something to be remedied by education. Anybody who is not ignorant, anybody who's been shown the facts and still believes the world is less than 10,000 years old, there's got to be something wrong with them.
Yes, again. But it's not only that people believing in 6,000-year-old Earth. No, they're believing in all this crazy stuff. They believe in demonic possession and speaking in tongues and glossolalia. Why don't you say that? Christian people are they are all religious all religious people are crazy people, and like schizophrenics that they belong in a mental institution, have the operate their brains, and then Christianity can be cured with a lobotomy. There it is, and it's not an insult. It's the truth. But Richard Dawkins should get some balls, and he actually tell it like it is. If don't discuss all this crazy stuff with these schizophrenic people that are Christians. How can you discuss anything like that with a Christian? It's impossible. These people are schizophrenics. They are, something is wrong with their brains. And this is what he actually should say. The man, Richard Dawkins, is brilliant. He's absolutely a brilliant man. But he's blind to this fact. Their religious beliefs are a form of neurological disorder, very similar to a schizophrenia in a way.
Of the magnitude of the error, to believe that the world is less than 10,000 years old, given that we know the world is actually 4.6 billion years old, it's equivalent to believing that the width of North America, right across from New York to San Francisco, is less than 10 yards. And that's...
You ought to mention, religious people which have a problem with the brain, in other words, the ones, only the ignorant and children have an excuse. Religious people that believe in all these things, that have a problem with the brain, they accept 2 + 2 equals to any number they believe it is, except for 4. That is the problem. If their brains are malfunctioning, they have a problem with the brains. We are in the 21st century, not the 12th. And this can be, Richard can easily prove that with, bringing up Dr. Sapolsky or Ramachandra and get one of those really deeply Christian scholars, like Dinesh Souza and all those, and have them submit to a brain operation. Just give them some datura flowers or stimulate the temporal lobes, and these people will go bonkers with the zombie God syndrome, resurrecting zombies. So proving Richard's point, that if you believe in God, you have a problem with the brain. The brain creates God, creates the delusions of God. And this is easily proven in neurology lab. I mean, it's right there. Making my point. And it's not only Dawkins, mentally healthy, in other words, an atheist, Dawkins. There are many, many scholar atheists that have the same problem. And one of them is, for instance, besides Sam Harris, that instead of a letter to a Christian nation, she should have said a letter to a Christ psychosis infected nation, and he would have been more accurate. You have Dan Barker, for instance, the atheist, and he had discussions with Christ psychotic people like Dot Friel, Dinesh Souza, Doug Wilson, James White, William Lane Craig, Hamza, Matt Slick, and Jason Gastrick. And guess what? He never questioned the mental health of these people that believe in resurrecting zombies that say with blood. Never. They believe in spirits and demons and all that crap. What is wrong with Dan Barker? Is he blind? And this is the problem. They never question this. Because I don't want to insult them. This is not an insult. You're telling me the truth. If you believe in all this nonsense in the 21st century, you have a problem with your brain, like schizophrenics. You cannot convince schizophrenics that they are sick. Never. That their concepts and their thoughts are irrational, and they are baseless, and they are based on false beliefs. And false beliefs are at the root of schizophrenia. Schizotype, problems with the brain. And that's a fact. Dan Barker doesn't see this. It will save him a lot of time, a lot of speaking. It takes only 10 minutes instead of an hour talking to a nut. Question the mental health, and actually test the brain with some drugs right there in front of everybody. And see if the zombie God is around. And that's what he should say. And they never do it. They're blind. This is the problem. And I'm here to wake him up. Well, like they say, put up or shut up. Facts talk, bullshit walks. Simple as that. Brain creates the psychosis of God. And I am simply presenting facts. I mean, it is somebody tries to attack me because in my YouTube videos, because I'm simply presenting facts. I'm not insulting anybody. I'm just telling it like it is. If you believe in imaginary friends and bizarre things, and you are crazy thoughts and crazy nonsense, and you are educated and you're not a child, you suffer from a neurological malfunction. It's that simple, and that's actually a fact. Religious people are crazy people. They are no different. They are reason just no different than schizophrenics, and atheists are very nice, which are mentally healthy. Mentally healthy means a person that is sane, that can tell between fact and fiction and concepts and all that. And if you cannot tell between fantasy and fiction, you are no longer mentally healthy. In other words, you're not an atheist. Atheist means lack of belief. And this should be emphasized constantly to everyone. You should also always say, mentally healthy, also known as atheist. Never say atheist by itself, because there's some very ignorant and stupid people that think atheism is a religion. Some people in government think this way. No, atheism means lack of belief in nonsense, in crazy stuff, in gods, in things that do not exist. So it is a fact, and that's what atheism means. Saying that atheism, lack of belief, is a religion is like saying that baldness is a hair color. Same thing. And these are very ignorant and stupid, Christ-psychotic people. Because if you believe in a resurrecting zombie, you have a problem with your brain, which is a delusion, a psychopathy. It's a disorder, if you believe. So therefore, it's very, very, very appropriate to call a Christian a Christ-psychotic. If you're a Muslim, you believe in Islam, which is also a bunch of fairy tales and irrational concepts like schizophrenia, you can call them Islam psychosis. If you're a Buddhist and you believe in all this nonsense and the forces and all that and the karma and all the snake in the back of your spine that goes around, all the bunch of nonsense that believed 3,000 years ago, which was correct, but not today, it's all created in the brain, then you are simply a Buddhist psychotic. And all religions have different branches. Christianity have thousands of branches, Buddhism, all these branches, Hinduism, all these branches. Every neurological disorder or a psychopathy of belief, of faith, is divided in many branches. We have as many gods and demons and ghosts as the brain can conceive. And this is actually a fact. A fact that mentally healthy atheists don't seem to address. They do not address it when discussing all these fairy tales with people infected with this neurological disorder of zombie Christ belief. And that's why it discusses a reality with the Christians. It's like discussing a reality with the people suffering from schizophrenia. You cannot convince them they're nuts. No way. And this is what Dawkins ought to say. And the problem is that Dawkins stuck with the creationist and the 6,000-year-old Earth belief. That's minuscule. That's nothing. All religious people have all these crazy beliefs. They're no different than schizophrenic beliefs. Bizarre mythological beliefs are found in all religions, faith, and also in neurological disorders like schizophrenia. Now, let's take Buddhism, for instance. There is recently, this is February 2012, we have Buddhist monks that are setting themselves on fire, to protest. They're killing themselves with fire. Now, that is true belief. It's true schizophrenia. It's like Jim Jones, and the Guyana massacre, taking Kool-Aid and cyanide, and the other people, Doe of Heaven's Gate, killing themselves for their faith. These are true believers. The only true believer is a person that killed himself for their beliefs. Like Islam's, the pilots of 9/11. These are true believers. Christians are not true believers. The ones that sit around and they're waiting for the rapture and crazy, cryptopsychotic, infected imbeciles, they don't, you know, put the money where your mouth is. You believe in God? Kill yourself. Immolate, prove it to us that you're really a true believer. They don't do it. They're cowards. All Christians are cowards. They're deluded, schizophrenic, ignorant morons that they actually truly don't believe. And they tell everybody, and they infect everybody, they corrupt the mind of children. And like, Christianity is a disgusting neurological disorder. And this is what Dawkins ought to say. Evidently, he doesn't know anything about the Crusades, about Charlemagne, and all the religious wars in Europe, and the Inquisitions all over the place, the rape of the Americans. In the United States, the Sand Creek Massacre, and all the Mormon psychotics because they ingested too many Datura flowers and they start seeing gods and prophets. And they founded Utah and all that. I mean, it's a long story. But these people are crazy people. And this is what he ought to say. Don't worry about the 6,000-year-old earth. That's minuscule. That's the stupid belief. They believe Christians are people that believe in resurrecting zombies and all this crazy nonsense. And the Buddhists, of course, you know, they're true believers, so they kill themselves. They immolate themselves. The problem with the brain. The brain is the one that creates these delusions of God. And that's what Dawkins, Dennett, and Dan Barker, and many, many atheists ought to say. And they don't. You know, so religious belief are a form of neurological disorder, not unlike schizophrenia. You know, Devereaux in 1943, a scientist, you know, clearly said, in 1943, he clearly said, you know, religion is organized schizophrenia. He was very correct. It's a psychosis, a dangerous mental illness. Only the ignorant people and children have an excuse. If you get educated and you start, you know, getting rid of all the beliefs, they say, oh, really, this is not true, this is not true, this is not true, then you're sane. And if you still believe it, and you're a doctor, you have a doctor's degree and all that, and you believe in all this resurrecting zombies, or flying prophets like Islam psychotics do, or Hindu psychotics and all that, then you have a problem with the brain. Then definitely you're not sane. In other words, you're not an atheist. If you start believing in something, you have trauma to the brain and all that, and you don't believe in God or nothing, you have problem with the brain, you start believing in things, then you are no longer an atheist. In other words, you do have a problem with the brain. Atheist is a person that can't tell between fact and fiction. If you have disorder or problems, you're no longer an atheist. In other words, you become, you have a problem, like a schizophrenic. So that's the difference. Here, this is interesting about this Buddhist. And about the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama, they believe in reincarnation. In other words, the guy died, a Lama died, and then all of a sudden his spirit went over and invaded the body of a little child someplace. So then all the monks start looking for the child to see, whoever is born that recognize the objects of the old Dalai Lama. The moment the kids start saying, oh yeah, I recognize the object, this is my toothbrush, and this whatever, and then, oh, we found the Dalai Lama, and that's Lama. So people should study religion, and Dawkins should study all that. Don't get stuck with the 6,000-year-old. This is nothing. Religious beliefs are mental illness. And, you know, people of faith should be like, you know, prove to us that you are really a true believer, like the Buddhists. The Buddhists, you know, they're killing themselves. They burn themselves, setting themselves on fire for their beliefs. It's February 2012. And they are, you know, they are doing that. So they are proving to us that they are really true believers. Christians are scared. They're cowards. You know, be like Jim Jones, that killed himself with drinking Kool-Aid, or Koresh on fire. These are true believers. Islam that killed, you know, Islam psychotics that killed themselves, you know, flying planes, committing suicide, you know, for their beliefs. They're true believers. The Christians are cowards. Christians are cowards. And Dawkins is worrying about the 6,000-year-old people that believe creationists. No. People are psychotic. It's more to it than that. People that suffer from schizophrenia, you know, temporal lobe epilepsy, they have these weird beliefs, which are no different than the ones of the religious. In the Buddhism, for instance, you know, they have the Dalai Lama. Yeah, yes, China is correct. China doesn't want to put up with the crazy lunatics. They're screwing up all the other countries. So I don't blame China for getting rid of the lunatics and telling it like it is. And they have one child per family because overpopulation is destroying the planet. We have more garbage, the two garbage patches in the Atlantic and the Pacific, this out of Texas, and more transportation, more planes polluting the air, more stuff, more food that we need, and this is terrible. It's disgusting. And the Christianity go on here and reproduce, and they don't give a shit because these people are psychotic, and they are stuck in the Middle Ages. No. One child per family in the United States. And if you believe in God, you go to a mental institution. And that's what they should do. They'll fix your brain. And this is the cause of all the problems, is Christ psychosis. It's the psychosis of GodBelief that could make us extinct. We have to control population. We have to teach children sex education, science, all the time since they're young. All the churches should be shut down. These people are disgusting. They are lunatics. It's like open asylums. To teach people all this psychosis as true. It's like going to a movie theater and they teach you everything else that you in the movie is true. It's not true. It makes you feel good, but it's just like a drama or something like that. Religion is the same thing. It's all created in the brain, so it's a psychosis if you believe all this stuff to be true. And population control is number one. In Christ, psychosis infected America, and a lot of atheists don't see this. See, they don't see it. Dawkins don't see it. Daniel don't see it. Don Barker don't see it. The brain is the creator of the mind. If the brain malfunctions, it only can create irrational thoughts and thinking, distorting the perception of reality, which happens in all religions and temporal lobe epilepsy and neurologic disorders. I mean, this is a fact, and they don't see it. But this is what happened in Buddhism. The Dalai Lama, what is it? They believe in reincarnation. They believe when the Dalai Lama dies, his soul goes to some kid around, some little baby someplace, and then they start looking for it. And then if the baby start recognizing the young kid, to start recognizing the utensils of the old Dalai Lama, then, we found the new Dalai Lama. So it goes in there. So it's a psychosis. Buddhism is also a psychosis. So it's a mental illness. So I don't blame the Chinese for crushing and cutting down on all this the lunatics, the Buddhist lunatics, and that's it's the same like in the United States. It's just the Christian lunatics that's screwing up. All these people, Family Research Council, they're intolerant, homophobia, psychopathy. These disgusting people are immoral and perverts, and their brains are screwed up, and they're intolerant, racist, pieces of shit. And these people are sick people with sick brains, and they ought to be put in mental institution. And that's what Dawkins ought to say. You should have the balls to say it. If you believe in God, you're a theotard. You have a problem with your brain. You should say that. But nope, nobody does it. They're too coward to do it. Just tell it like it is. I do.
A dream. We wish what all Tibetans wish for the most, for the Dalai Lama to return to the palace in Tibet. He just looks to a picture of the Buddha. I can't explain, he says, but I'm not afraid. The keepsake of their spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama. Too sacred to even show us.
And of course there was a police checkpoint.
Yeah, Tibetans are setting themselves on fire, the monks.
Passport.
Great, I wish the Christians do that in the United States, all the pastors.
Our camera picks up the police. The self-immolation of other Buddhists, they support them and vow it will continue until China leaves Tibet. For the Chinese government.
So remember, friends, I'm simply presenting facts. Like they say, money talks, bullshit walks. If you believe in Jesus Christ, your brain is sick, infected with rotten lice, putrefaction, sick brains like schizophrenics. We're in the 21st century, not the 12th. So I hope you enjoy this. I simply present facts with the evidence to back it up. Hey, I love to slap all these Christ-psychotic infected imbeciles with facts. I love to do that. And hey, if you don't have anything intelligent to post here in my videos, you know, proving me wrong, that the brain doesn't create God, then stay away from it. Bug off. Because I'll smash you. I'll crush you with facts. It's nice to be mentally healthy. In other words, an atheist. Patch of your own.